Welcome back to Film Fanatics. My name's Miles, and today we're talking about Coraline. Now, this is a cult classic, fan favorite, so I'm gonna go ahead and start saying I'm a part of the fan favorites, but I want to also let you all oh shit, my bad. I want to go ahead and let everyone know. Appreciate you for dropping a sub. Thank you to all my future subscribers. Thank you to all my current subscribers. You're greatly appreciated. I greatly appreciate you. Sorry about that mishap that started off the video, but I'm gonna go ahead and let you say I love this movie. It's quirky, it's witty, it's charming, it's everything you want in a movie, and it's non-traditional. I have no idea. I think it's want to say claymation, but like I said, or stop motion, whatever they do to make a movie like this, phenomenal. I like with a movie like this. Obviously, it's like Wallace and Gromit, like those type of movies take months just to capture like seconds. So it's like I understand why we don't get to see more movies like this, but obviously when we do get to see a movie like this and it's well made, it's well put together, it's obviously a treat. So before I get into everything, my breakdown, my review, how I felt, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Like, let's do each other a favor. And let's get to 1 million subscribers, and then I'll be the most generous guy you ever met. But let's go ahead and get into it. Coraline starts off with our obviously, our main character, Coraline, who moves to a different apartment. It's like one of these house apartments with her parents. And obviously, she's a very witty, charming young lady. So she gets to explore in this apartment where she notices a lot of bugs, a lot of code violations, a lot of different things you shouldn't see in a house/apartment. And then she discovers a little tiny room in the coven, like a little coven. And she asks her mom to open it up. She opens it up and it leads to nowhere. It's all bricked up. And then she eventually meets our secondary character, Wybie. And Wybie lets her know that his grandmother says that her sister disappeared in this house a long time ago and he's not allowed in there. But somehow his grandma is still leasing this apartment out. Way to go, grandma, get that check. But later on at night, a couple of rats scurry into Coraline's room, and then they scurry away, and she follows them. And now in the little convent, it is a tunnel, a little small tunnel she has to crawl through. She crawls through it where she now discovers her other mother and her other father. And our original mother and father are, typical, naturally going through a lot of things. I think this was set in 2009, so it's probably, they're going through a lot of hardship. The market just crashed. They probably had to give up their house, probably had to move into this space unknowingly. So it is a depressing time. And as Coraline is a child, she's not really, thinking about that. Obviously, she notices she's old enough to realize, this isn't amazing. This isn't the greatest experience, but, which I think ultimately leads to why we have a lot of fan theories. So she goes into this hole. She comes out and sees her other mother and her other father, and they're way more delightful. They're feeding her food. They're basically showing her everything she needs to see to let her know that this is the ultimate world. Now, to get into any film theories or anything like that, I think Coraline died initially. I think on this first visit, she died. They got her. I think this is a metaphor for serial killers. She's going through a tough time with her family. Obviously, she's more susceptible to going along with adults who are going to sell her a dream. So I think initially when she falls asleep the first time, she got, and the rest of the movie is just, the movie. We get to see a plot play out. So because like I said, she falls asleep here and she wakes up. Obviously, we know what happens, but she wakes up in the real world where she goes back and discovers, her neighbors. And her neighbors are all different quirky individuals who are kind of crazy, all kind of, nearing the end of their lives, old people, probably not in the best spots. And we get to see what they did in their former lives, which probably led to the point where they're not doing so great in their life at this moment. And how these hardships and how the world is very cruel. So she meets all these different individuals, and obviously the doll is watching her, and everyone's watching her. That's why I said I think she died earlier, and all these things are just literary devices to push the story forward. That's my only theory, because as the movie plays out, we get to see, obviously she gets away. Obviously she goes back to the real world. Obviously, it's sort of a happy ending, but it is left a little ambiguous for us to have theories. But like I said, she gets to meet all these different people. She leaves a little cheese out because she got the idea from her upstairs neighbor who used to work. Like he was in the war, so like, and he was doing things with bombs and like smoke gas and everything. That's why his skin blue. That's another theory that I saw online. So shout out to whoever found that out. But that's kind of the way he is. He's kind of little, in the head. So she finds out, okay, well, I can just use some cheese to have the rats come back, and when the rats come back, I can go back in. So once she uses this plan, the rats do eventually come for the cheese. She goes back into the hole, and that's where she meets her other neighbors, where they're way more delightful, way, more of their former selves. They're just more perfect. But I think in the real world, these people are already perfect. They're just at the end of their life. Now they just have more wisdom. They might not be in their heyday, but hey, they're who they are. They're still those people. So again, selling her a dream. Also nearing to the point where she realizes they want to take her eyes and replace them with buttons. So she goes back to the real world where she encounters the neighbors again, and she realizes this is a ploy. And her parents are gone, they've been kidnapped. So now we're at the forefront of the climax of the movie where she discovers a little token from her downstairs neighbors with all the crazy dogs and all that stuff going on. And she uses this device in the realm where the crazy mother wants to eat her and kill her. So she goes in there with the cat. She says the cat and lets her know that the mother loves games. So you can beat her by playing these games, doing these things, and discovering where the lost children were, because she's already gotten these children. That's why I say they already got her. That's my only theory. Outside of that, I think the movie's just straightforward. If that isn't the theory, and she goes on this quest, finds all the children's eyes, because that's basically what the quest is, finding the children's eyes, getting their eyes back, freeing them, and once she does get the eyes, they are free, but she is still not. So she has to devise a plan to get out, and once she gets out, after a lot of Coraline-esque maneuvers and wittiness, she's still not safe. The mother's hand has gotten out, and she still wants her. Don't see how far her hand's gonna go. I think at some point she would have eventually gotten away without the help of YB, who eventually comes along and smashes the hand, throwing it in the well, saving the day, and Coraline and YB ride off into the sunset, living a happy life, getting back to a point where they can plant in the garden. Her father and her mother over time get more happier, they get more immersed in the community, and like I said, leaves us with a happy ending. But also, I don't think that hand was gonna stop much. And the world kind of crumbled around her, so it's like, your plan is foiled. You're done. You're cooked. But like I said, overall, most charming movie ever. They re-release it every couple times in the theater, so when I often go times, I've seen it a couple times recently, the theater is always packed, everyone's always laughing. It's not made to be the most funny movie ever or leaning into any sort of way other than just being a good product in form of the art creation that they made. I think they did a phenomenal job. I'm definitely a part of this. But if you made it to this point in the video, thank you so very, very much. I tried to give a light review. Like I said, it's Coraline, so we all love it. But what are some of your theory times? What are some things that I missed? What are some things that you'd like me to go over? Or some things that you know about the movie that I just did not get to? Definitely leave that in the comments. Let's have a conversation. But thank you so very, very much. Definitely consider leaving a like, comment, or subscribe. Let's get to 1 million subs so we can have a big old party at the movie theater. So we can have a big old movie theater fashion for 1 million people, so we can see Reservoir Dogs in 10,000 millimeters, so we can take that Quentin Tarantino ride, because obviously if you're here, you love movies and you appreciate what I'm doing, and I appreciate you. So thank you so very much for making it to this point. Have a great rest of your day.